Hey guys, this is Matt Brunet, and welcome to Movie News Weekly, hosted by FilmBook. Now before we begin, let's take a look at what we got in this week's news, which includes March officially belongs to Zootopia, the sacrifices you make for throat surgery, we'll be looking into the good and bad of Screening Room, what the numbers say on how big Batman vs Superman will be, Disney will be bringing back Indiana Jones, the nominees to take on Harrison Ford's famous role, Guillermo and Octavia are taking on the Cold War, Simon Pegg finds himself in another sci-fi flick, and guess who's been conjuring up the Black Cauldron again? So, with that said, let's get things started. Not since the Lego Movie has an animated feature received this big of an achievement. For the third week in a row, Zootopia is still going strong in first place at the weekend box office by earning about $40 million. This even puts it over the new movies out this week, including A Legion of the Divergent series, which landed in second place with about $30 million, and with the Christian film Miracles from Heaven, Jesus was a bit kind enough to put it in third place with about $15 million. The other older movies this week have to be put down a notch to make room for the two movies. 10 Cloverfield Lane went down with about $12.5 million, Deadpool came out with about $8 million, and London Has Fallen has grabbed almost $7 million. Even though he never worked on one before, he had to already call it quits for being sick. Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman had to leave the writing group of the upcoming Transformers movies after just one day of being there due to health issues. He stated at South by Southwest, "I have to say, I was only in that room for a day before I found out that I was having my throat surgery that kept me out of Comic-Con." The remaining writers that are still with the franchise include Matt Holloway, Art Markham, Jeff Pinkner, and Zach Penn. The next installment of the Transformers movies will be ready to hit theaters on June 23rd, 2017. Today we'll be talking about something big that can possibly change the course of the future of movie watching, and that is called Screening Room. What is it, you may ask? Well, created by the founder of Napster, Sean Parker, it is a new $150 system that will allow viewers to watch movies at their homes on the day that it gets released in theaters. Customers would have to pay $50 in order to see the latest big flick in the comfort of their homes within a 48-hour span. What makes this device interesting, however, is that it already has full support of several big-name directors, including Steven Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, Martin Scorsese, Ron Howard, Frank Marshall, Brian Grazer, and Peter Jackson. When The Wrap contacted Jackson about this, he wrote back by saying, "Screening Room is very carefully designed to capture an audience that does not currently go to the cinema. Screening Room will expand the audience for a movie, not shift it from cinema to living room. It does not play off studio against theater owners. Instead, it respects both, and it's structured to support the long-term health of both exhibitors and distributors, resulting in greater sustainability for the wider film industry itself." Okay, so now that we saw the good of Screening Room, now let's see how it can be a bad thing. Unlike the directors listed before, both James Cameron and Jon Landau expressed that they are fully against Screening Room. Along with their opposition include M. Night Shyamalan, Roland Emmerich, Brett Ratner, Christopher Nolan, the National Association of Theater Owners, and the art house Convergence. Landau spoke out by saying, "Both Jim and I remain committed to the sanctity of the in-theater experience. For us, from both a creative and financial standpoint, it is essential for movies to be offered exclusively in theaters for their initial release. We don't understand why the industry would want to provide audiences an incentive to skip the best form of experience, the art that we work so hard to create." Landau ended what he had to say with a warning that no one is against playing in the home, but there is a sequencing of events that leads to it. Okay, maybe the title is just stating something we've already known for years, but now it's seeing how big it can actually be. According to advanced ticket sales, they predict that Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice could be the biggest movie of the year so far, already beating out both Deadpool and last year's Furious 7. In fact, the sales are somewhere around what The Dark Knight Rises did, and sources say that it could have the biggest pre-summer opening. In terms of the type of audiences appealing to, according to Movio, they stated that the audience profile is 78% male, massively over-indexing between the ages of 14 and 49. This is your avid opening weekend audience, with some 70% attending films during opening weekends, spending 3.2 times more than the typical US moviegoers. Batman vs Superman will finally be duking it out next week on March 25th. After years of waiting and an awkward moment with Aliens, Indy's big comeback has finally arrived. Disney officially announced that Indiana Jones will be returning to the big screen once again in 2019. Not only that, but the key players of the movies will be returning to their respective jobs, including Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy as producers, Steven Spielberg will be directing, and Harrison Ford will once again become the most beloved archaeologist. Alan Horn, chairman of the Walt Disney Studios, stated, "Indiana Jones is one of the greatest heroes in cinematic history, and we can't wait to bring him back to the screen in 2019. It's rare to have such a perfect combination of director, producers, actor, and role, and we couldn't be more excited to embark on this adventure with Harrison and Steven." Indiana Jones will embark on his next big adventure on July 19th, 2019. It's getting pretty close to find the new Solo, and the people at both Disney and Lucasfilm, along with directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller, are narrowing down to who will get the legendary role. So far, 3 finalists are now on the short list to who will play the lead in the upcoming Han Solo spin-off film. However, sources do say that it is possible that there are more than what is publicly stated. But with that said, the nominees for the next Han Solo are Adlen and Ehrenreich, known recently for Hail Caesar; Jack Reynor, known to be in Transformers: Age of Extinction; and Taron Egerton, who starred in The Kingsman and Eddie the Eagle. As previously stated, the winner will receive the main part in Lord & Miller's Star Wars spin-off film that is set to be released in 2018. You never know what kind of crazy projects that Del Toro will come up with next, and which ones will actually happen. However, maybe this one actually could. Guillermo del Toro is currently writing, producing, and directing what is currently described as an otherworldly love story set during the Cold War. Any other information about it is currently unknown, other than that Octavia Spencer is now in talks with Fox Searchlight in order to star in the film. Sources close to the project say that he is setting this movie to be his top priority along with his other ideas, and that shooting will begin during this summer. Jumping from one sci-fi flick to another, now we can't really make one without this guy. Simon Pegg is now in talks to join the cast of Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, which is based on the 2011 novel by Ernest Cline. He will be joining Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, and Ben Mendelsohn in the film, which will be about the biggest treasure hunt in 2024. If Pegg officially signs on, he will be playing Organ Morrow, the co-founder of the virtual world Oasis. As a response to move as far away from Star Wars Episode 8 as possible, Warner Bros. Has set the film to be released on March 30th, 2018. This may sound like your average movie news story to turn a book series into a film, but considering that it's Disney we're talking about, things got a lot more interesting. Disney has acquired the movie rights to the Chronicles of Prydain book series by Lloyd Alexander. No other information has been revealed about the project other than that Sam Dickerman is being in charge of the project. Now, what makes this very interesting is that this can actually count as another Disney adaptation to one of their animated films, in the similar veins of Cinderella and Maleficent. Back in 1985, Disney released The Black Cauldron, which was based on the first 2 Chronicles of Prydain books, and it was known to be Disney's biggest failure as an animated feature, and has often been referred to as Disney's Black Sheep. So, seeing them return to this franchise will be very fascinating indeed. And that's all I've got for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to head on down to film-book.com for all the latest movie and TV news, along with their columns on the box office and their theatrical release schedule. Also, you can follow them on whatever social media you'd like. And while you're at it, you can follow me on my YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter if you're more into stuff like animation, Disney, and my weird sense of humor. If you are watching this on YouTube, then hit that like button and come subscribe to us, and also leave a little comment on what you think on the news this week. If you were listening to this on a podcast on iTunes or any other podcast service, then don't forget to rate and review what you just heard. Tune in next time for another round of Movie News Weekly, and until next week, see you later, dudes!